Hello and welcome to Mobility, Technology, and Marketing. This is the go-to meeting for week four. In the fourth week, we're going to put a focus on your final project or final presentation assignment four, as well as the analysis portion. So this week focuses on the analysis portion for your digital marketing campaign, and we're going to tie all those together. So I want to start with the final presentation template. You'll see on your assignment four, you'll see that you're required to essentially kind of do an evaluation of return on investment. And I want you to put that evaluation portion, add that to your actual digital marketing um, canvas or your digital marketing presentation. And so let's get started. Here's a template that I've derived for you for the final for your assignment four. Standard title slide, table of contents that you have that should outline essentially what you're doing in your canvas along with your um, evaluation, your ROI evaluation. Starting with the canvas, pretty much there's an overview of the digital marketing plan. We went over that for assignment three. All right. And this is what it looks like. It's the nine boxes that makes up what your digital marketing plan includes. Um, and I'll go over each one of these boxes again just as an overview, and then we'll get right into the evaluation part. And so the first box will be the situation. Make sure that in your final assignment that you answer the question, where are we now? For whatever project that you decide to do, whether a sports team or a brand, answer the question, where are we now? Um, is there a problem or an opportunity that you are going after? And you can answer that and think of it in terms of race and in terms of reach. Do we have a problem with reach? Reach meaning how reaching our end user. Do we have a problem with act or interaction? Do we have a problem with conversion or engage, which I consider nurturing, meaning that keeping them coming back? And so once you've identified the situation, you want to answer that by saying, where do you want to be? After the plan has been executed and after you've done the strategy, where do you want to be after this plan is executed? And so describe this also in terms of race. An example of this is for your situation, let's say you picked a team, sports team, and the situation was sports teams, sports team XYZ, ticket sales have been decreasing 30%, every season. Or last year's season, tickets decreased 20%. Um, if that is the situation, if that is one of your situations or the situation, then your objective could simply be to increase ticket sales by 30%, which will put you back on par, or increase ticket sales by 40%. So you're directly answering what your situation is. You've done an assessment of the situation, and now in your objective, you're going to directly answer that situation. And then from that point, you want to go on to your strategy. And then we talked about this before in last week's go-to meeting. And then starting with the target segment, that's answering the question, who exactly are you targeting? You want to describe that in terms of the persona or digital profile of your target audience or end user, and be very clear on the demographic. The demographic could be targeting sports fans that live in the Denver area, that is between the ages of 25 and 36. You can be specific with it, or if it's just a wide range, I'm targeting sports fans that engage with our social media Facebook page, um, that's in the whole state of California. So, but you want to make sure that you identify, you know, who this target segment is, and not only who they are, but describe them as terms of what's their personality like. You know, young professionals. You could say, fans that love sports memorabilia, um, fans that actually attend the game. You could be specific in terms of that. Next thing you do after you've identified that target audience is you answer the question for value proposition. What exactly am I offering my target segment? Okay. Um, so that's the piece that you're saying. Am I offering them a mobile app? Am I offering them promotion? Am I offering them some widget or gadget? What exactly is the thing I'm offering them? All right. Make sure that you include your wireless technology solution into your plan. So when you speak about what you're offering them, I want to understand that if it's related to mobility, I want to understand the wireless technology and the capability that you would need to implement this, as well as the mobility technology. It requires users to have mobile phones that are NFC capable, or it requires them to have iPhones, phones with iOS devices, because this app is solely only sold through the Apple App Store. Whatever the case may be, I want to hear about the mobile technology that's required to implement this plan, as well as the wireless technology. Wireless technology could be if it's a stadium issue with the ticket sales and you're doing your solution, your value proposition is a fan app mobile app that they can have special access only at stadium or at the venue. Then you would tell me that the wireless requirement would be that the venue have Cisco connected stadium that has the wireless hi-fi high density Wi-Fi implemented, or whatever the case is as far as the wireless technology part. Make sure that you clearly identify that. And from that point, we want to go on to our next strategy, would be the content marketing. And the content marketing answers the question, what types of content am I using to reach my audience? I showed you a content marketing mix, and I want you to describe that in terms of the mix. I want you to describe this strategy in terms of, it's a strategy to entertain, educate, inspire, or convince. And if it is to entertain or educate, inspire to events, whichever quadrant that falls into, I want you to describe the type of content marketing you're using. I'm gonna go back up and see if I can find that. There it is. You notice, see these four quadrants. This is part of your week 3 reading material. Is inside of your 7 steps guide. It shows you the content marketing mix, and you see these quadrants that I explained to you last time. And so when you talk about that strategy, like I said before, if the strategy is to entertain my user base, then you want to say, the strategy is to entertain our target audience by uh, hosting competitions, or entertain them by implementing by branded videos or quizzes, or games, or inspire them by incorporating celebrity endorsements or getting them reviews, that type of thing, or mix. If it's more than one, it can be more than one. You can have a strategy to entertain and educate and inspire if you want. So use this graph as a baseline to identify your content marketing strategy. Okay. Um, After the content marketing strategy, the next step is to communication strategy. So now that you have the content, you want to identify a strategy for how are you going to get this content to that end user? What channels or vehicles will you use to deliver that message to your audience? An example of channels that you can use would be social media. Now, social media is a channel. If you don't have to go into details and say Facebook or Twitter or link. That's a specific tactic for a channel. The whole overarching channel is social media, or is it email, or is it website, or is it a landing page? Is it television? Whatever that channel is, describe the channel that the end user is going to. Where are they going to see this content? Where are they going to see it at? All right. So after you've came up with the strategy, then the next thing to do is describe your tactics. Now, your tactics, remember, are your specific activities. How exactly are you going to do it? It's a step down into the details of how exactly are we going to execute this in terms of race, which is reach, act, convert, and engage. And starting with the reach, you want to answer the question, how exactly will I reach my target audience? And that example of that is if your communication strategy, your channel strategy is through social media, your exact reach, an example of an exact reach could be I'm going to reach my audience through Facebook ads or Twitter ads or Twitter posts or YouTube videos. That's an exact reach that you're going to YouTube or Vine. Those are exact reach methods that describes more the specifics on how your target audience will see the content that you're providing to them. And once they've seen it, then the next step is to be more specific in the terms of act or interact. And this answers the question, how are you going to engage with your audience? Or how is your audience going to engage with your content? What is it that's going to make them interested? This directly correlates with the content marketing. And so, if you remember on the content marketing, I used examples like quizzes. They showed examples like quizzes, infographics, promotions. This talks to what is the spice, what is on that content. What type of content that you are providing these end users that's going to get them interested. And so, you want to talk to those specific items on that content marketing chart. Okay. And now that you've gotten them interested, the next thing to do is understand how exactly are you going to sell to them? How are you going to get them to convert from whatever they were to what you want them to be? If that objective, and this should align directly with your objective. Going back to the example I used, if the objective is to increase ticket sales, right? Your tactic for conversion is okay, what stream or what steps am I going to give my target audience that gets them to convert being to purchase a ticket, and to purchase a ticket after they've engaged with your content could be simply a link to a landing page that has a checkout cart or point of sales at the game. And so the conversion is actually the point in which the customer or the your target user pulls out their wallet or purse and makes that purchase. What does that look like? Is that a checkout cart? Is that a physical point of sales mechanism? Is that a link to somewhere to make a purchase? Or if it's not monetary, if it's to convert a non-fan to a fan or a non-like to a like using social, then what is that method? Is that method, that conversion would be if you have an app and you need a fan, you're trying to get more users on an app to engage with a mobile app, then that conversion channel is or mechanism is provide a link to App Store to download app. And so if you get what I'm saying, we've breaking this down into small pieces and small steps where you have to identify specifically the reach mechanism. How do I reach them? I'm going to have a Facebook ad. They're going to see that ad. Once they see that ad, how do I engage with them? Okay. How do I, and that's the act part. That's the A. How do I interact with them? I'm going to use a quiz through the ad to get them interested. I'm going to use an infographic or reviews to get them interested in the content, the value that I'm offering. Okay, now that they're interested, now how are you going to convert them? In that content, I'm going to provide a link to a checkout cart. In that content, I'm going to provide um, a button to buy now, or I'm going to have the link to download the app. So this is where you identify and specify how are you going to walk them to the conversion point. Now that they've converted, they're officially a customer of yours. they're a customer or a fan, you've met that objective from the conversion point, and now the last thing from a tactics perspective is engage. Engage, you're answering the question, how exactly am I going to retain my customers? And you want to describe the exact methods that you will use to keep your customers coming back. How do you get them to fall in love with your product, with your value proposition, so much so that they become advocates? Examples of keeping them engaged or nurturing them is follow-up surveys, is having a blog where you continuously update content and engage with them on your blog. Follow-up emails where you are having recurring emails go out to them, giving them new offers. Setting up a loyalty program where you're letting them know that for coming back as a customer, they get some kind of points or they get some special perks. And that's the engagement portion of the tactics where you are nurturing your customers now that you have them. Okay, and so then next we talked about the actions, or what I like to call milestones. So the milestones, it simply answers the question, who is going to do what when? And so this is where you have to break down your entire plan and make sure that you've allocated the proper resources, whether that who is a physical person or a computer or is automated. But whatever it is that needs to be done, and this comes from all of your tactics, your objective, whatever it is that needs to be done, who is going to do it, when are they going to do it, when are they going to be done with it, and have that listed out as milestones. Okay, so now that you have your milestones, that shows me, it keeps you accountable that you've properly allocated resources, and we know that there are people or there's processes that are getting this work done. The next thing to do is monitor and measure it. And that's the last box, which is the control box that just says, how do I know I've met my objectives? This is the indicator box to let you know, how do you know you're successful? You know, in order to do this, you need to identify what are your key performance indicators. And that starts with your objectives. If your objective is to increase ticket sales by 30% over the next season, that's a key performance indicator. Ticket set percentage of ticket sales or number of ticket sales over the duration of the season. And then you want to also monitor and measure your actual process that you're doing for your strategy. So everything in your tactics, you want to monitor and measure all the small things that lead up to that main objective. And so if that objective is ticket sales, and your tactics, you have a tactic of reaching out to sports fans in an area through Facebook ads, then you want to identify how many people seen those ads, how many people engaged with the ads, how many people clicked on it and purchased a ticket. You want to make sure that you're able to monitor and measure every step that gets you to the main objective. And then this is the point in which you have one dashboard that encompasses these key performance indicators and keeps you on track and keeps everyone on track throughout the process versus in hindsight. Okay, so now that that's done and we have a great plan, now it's time to talk about what's really the most important part, and that is the return on investment. Because all of those activities that you do prior to this, um, it has to make monetary and business sense, or you're losing money and you don't know it. And so, what is return on investment? Here's the standard definition of basic return on investment. And in layman's terms, it's simply a ratio or percentage of whatever you get back minus what you put in over what you put in. It's the percentage of showing you, if I get back more than what I put in, then I've made a positive return on my investment. If I get back less than what I put in, then I've made a negative return on my investment. Okay. But that's not quite the return on investment that we are interested in. The reason why is because when you're dealing with franchise or a big brand or big team, and you are as digital marketing specialist, you are responsible for a section of the total investment. An owner purchases a sports franchise. He's investing in the franchise, which includes build the stadium, staff, the players, food, uh, all of the things that are involved with the total investment that they invest into that sports franchise. But when you come into the equation, what you're coming to the equation is saying that for our digital marketing efforts, I need a specific digital marketing bucket. And from that bucket of or budget, here's invest X amount of dollars in digital marketing. And the digital marketing return on investment is what I do with those marketing dollars, not what the concession stands does with food dollars or the merchandise folks do with merchandise items or the players do, but it's the digital marketing aspect of it. Okay, so back to return on investment. Your total revenue is the top line sales generated from a campaign. The gross profit is the revenue minus the cost of goods to produce or deliver a product or service. And your net profit is the gross profit minus expenses. Things to consider when we're talking about the digital marketing costs is creative costs. Creative costs could be any design that is done, printing costs, any materials that are print technology costs. That's mobile apps, websites, email platforms, etc. Uh, time, staffing, management costs, cost of sales, and then here's how that you can calculate marketing return on investment is by using the gross profit minus the marketing investment over the marketing investment. So as you see, it's very similar to a standard return on investment, except that this identifies just the marketing efforts and the gross profit from marketing efforts minus the marketing investment. Another method of calculating um, your return on investment is using your customer lifetime value. There's a formula that gives you an indication of how much a customer is worth to you over the lifespan of that customer's duration. And that is simply the customer lifetime value minus the marketing investment over the marketing investment. I'm going to show you a demonstration on that in the next slide. But what it would help you answer is like three fundamental questions. That is, did you pay enough to acquire customers from each marketing channel? Did you acquire the best kind of customers? And how much could you spend on keeping them sweet with email and social media, those nurturing type of things? Okay. Here's an example on how to calculate all three of them. A marketing ROI calculation is a powerful tool for marketers. I'm going to walk you through the steps to calculate marketing ROI for a $5,000 search engine marketing campaign, showing you how to calculate ROI using three different methods: a basic calculation using cost of goods sold, a calculation using customer lifetime value, and a calculation using gross profit percentage. For this example, I'm using the Return on Investment Calculator from the Marketing ML Planning and Management app. You can download this from the Return on Investment subject within the app. My first step is to determine if I'm going to include any overhead expenses in my calculation. We allocate 8% of our revenue to cover our company's overhead, so I'm going to enter that here. We also allocate $50 per unit sold for customer service and support. This is an incremental cost per unit, and I'm going to include that in my calculation. For the basic calculation, I record my marketing investment of $5,000. We ended up selling 100 units at $300 per unit.
So I multiply my total units sold by my price per unit to get my total revenue of $30,000. Our cost of goods per unit is $100. You may need to check with your finance team if you don't have this figure handy. Since we sold 100 units, our total cost of goods equals $10,000. Subtracting that from my total revenue yields a $20,000 gross profit. Now I need to add my additional expenses. Since we allocate 8% of revenue for overhead, I multiply $30,000 by 8% to get $2,400 of overhead costs. To get my total incremental costs, I multiply the $50 of service and support costs per unit with 100 units sold for a total of $5,000. To calculate my ROI, I take my gross profit, subtract my marketing investment, subtract my overhead allocation, and subtract my incremental costs, then divide the result by my marketing investment of $5,000. This campaign produced a net ROI of 152%. Another method to calculate ROI is using customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value is a powerful metric for marketers. It's the amount of profit a customer delivers over their entire lifetime, not just for a single purchase. My customer lifetime value is $126. So I enter in my marketing investment, my number of new customers from my campaign, and my customer lifetime value. Multiply your number of new customers by your CLV per customer to get your profit, then subtract your marketing investment and divide the result by your marketing investment to determine your ROI. A third method used is gross profit percentage. I know that our gross profit per unit is 66.6%, so I multiply this by my total revenue to get my gross profit. I then add overhead and incremental expenses and perform the same calculation from the first example. Gross profit minus marketing investment minus overhead costs minus incremental costs, all divided by my marketing investment of $5,000 to achieve my final ROI of 152%. To access the calculator that I use in this demo, sign up for a free preview account, browse our marketing tools, and add 27.5.
I actually have this. I have this calculator, this worksheet for you guys. I have this worksheet for you guys um, in FSO. So you can look at the calculate the marketing ROI in FSO, and you should see that worksheet. Um, so that ends the evaluation part. So for your assignment 4, what I would like to see is I would like to see your digital marketing canvas with your supporting slides. Your supporting slides essentially just go into more detail for each box. Situation, objective, 4 strategy boxes, tactics, action, and control. I also like to see your marketing return on investment. Now, these can be dummy numbers. Dummy numbers meaning that you can get estimates on a budget and cost. They don't have to be accurate. I just want to see that you go through the exercise of calculating it and giving me a marketing return on investment. If you have any other questions, you can just send me a quick IM. I'm looking at it now. I don't see anybody. There's no one on the GoToMeeting, but you can send me an email or IM me or give me a phone call. Other than that, I hope you guys good luck on your assignment 4, and I shall talk to you again.